when it comes to getting noticed, the Bugatti is a shrinking violet compared to this piece of rolling thunder, the Lamborghini Diablo.
I know all about the expression "when in Rome" and that I shouldn't really be wearing seatbelts, but I'm British and I'm keeping them on. Besides, I don't really subscribe to the professor's idea of Italian road safety, good hospitals. This car is fast like no other. It's brutal. It's a 5.7-litre vibrator. Having squeezed as much as they can out of that huge engine, the only way to make it go faster is to start shedding weight. I've no radio, I've no electric windows, there's just acres and acres of carbon fibre.
I love the Diablo, but it's an expensive truck compared to the best supercar of them all. The Ferrari 355.
Shine a light. Shine on me.
Ferrari don't always get it right. The old Testarossa was a dog and the Mondial looked like its dinner. But with the 355, I just can't see any way they could make it better. Because it has a V8 engine, I can potter around in town all day long in 6th gear if I want. But because they've put 5 valves per cylinder in there, I can take it up to 8,500 RPM. This is the nicest car I have ever driven. I honestly think it's fair to say that I am experiencing motoring perfection here. I can't think of a single way this car could be better.
But Italy is no different from Britain. Of the 2 million cars sold here every year, only 200 to 300 are what you might call supercars. No, in Italy, more so than anywhere else in Europe, perhaps anywhere else in the world, the small car is king. And you only have to look at the facts to see why. Italian drivers may be crazy, but they're not stupid. The towns are old, the streets are narrow, and parking is an absolute nightmare. Petrol is very expensive. And then there's the taxation rules. Anyone who can afford to run a car with an engine bigger than 2 litres is the kind of guy who likes to bathe in ass's milk. And above all that, you've got a whole load of kids who stay at home longer than they do in the UK, so the money they save on rent or a mortgage can be spent buying themselves a little car. When they launch a small car here, the fuss is so enormous, you could be forgiven for thinking they just won the World Cup, twice, on the same day. Why the small car? Why is it so popular here?
Well, I tell you why. It's out of necessity. I mean, when we started motorization in Italy in a big way, in the 50s, let's say, the income per capita in Italy was very low, and the desire to be motorized was very high. So the only way to do it was with a very inexpensive car. And there came the Cinquecento, the Seicento, from the pre-war Topolino. That is really the less expensive form of motorization you can give people. That's why it happened that way.
They were great little cars, but what would you expect from a country that puts this much effort into its car factories? This architectural masterpiece, really, is a 20th century equivalent of the Colosseum. It's the huge Lingotto plant, slap bang in the middle of Turin. Production moved upwards, and as the cars rolled off the line on the top floor, they were taken out onto its most astonishing feature, the rooftop test track. Today, Lingotto is a monument to Turin's world domination of car design.
This Alfa may be a product of Milan, but everyone from Ford to Toyota uses Turin styling houses. Turin is where you'll find two of my all-time heroes, Mr. Giugiaro and Mr. Pininfarina. Turin is automotive Mecca.
Well, I think it has been probably the most influential of all the school of designs, and this started after the World War II. I think that millions of cars belong to the Torino school. When I say Torino school, I don't mean only Pininfarina. I mean Pininfarina, I mean Giugiaro, I mean Ital Design, I mean Bertone. There are millions of cars running or which have been designed by the Torino school. That is, I think Italian school has been very influential.
Although Alfa Romeo is based in Milan, here in Turin was a more important industrial base, and because of Fiat, many smaller coach builders set up here. Essentially, Turin is a breeding ground for artisans, just as Silicon Valley is for the computer industry.
I think that Italy has been famous in the story, in the history, for the masterpiece in art, which means that the Italian people are certainly conscious of beauty. They love classical beauty, which is in our blood.
A lot of car companies nowadays use customer clinics, asking the man in the street what he thinks he wants for the next car. Surely none of these cars can have come out of a customer clinic. Do you use customer clinics? Or?
No, personally I don't, because I believe we must lead the design, and the custom clinics normally are a sort of result of the taste of the moment. And they reflect the past, not the future.
Film directors, sculptors and artists do not conduct clinics. Surgeons, do they conduct customer clinics to prove if they are good at what they do? No. Their professional approach gives them an advantage. It is the same for cars. Although they are a technical project, there's always an artistic element in them.
What, in your opinion, is the best-looking car ever made?
La Jaguar.
It is difficult to say, but Jaguar makes a beautiful car. I like a sport coupe, and when this Spider came out in the 60s, it was a dream.
There are many.
Names?
Many, because if I would copy my father, it would be the best-looking car is my next. But if I have to say what I like best in my spirit, certainly is the Ferrari cars.
The people in this part of the world have got it in their blood to make cars like this. They seem to have a natural gift if they come from this region.
People in Italy are free to build great cars and drive them however they want.
Let us say they're rather difficult to decide.